Hello everyone. So we are going to do a stitch with me tonight. It's 9 o'clock here and I've had a 12-hour day. Well, we won't talk about that. Well, maybe we will. But anyway, so you can see that I'm working on a different project. I am going to be making these little cutie pies. So this is out of the Endangered Youngins, which is a Gloria and Pat book. I have both of them, so it's the Endangered Youngins, book 79. Alright, so we are on the grass currently. And I can't find my working copy, so for today, I'm working from the book. It's a pretty simple pattern. So I'm on the 4th row. I gotta pay some attention. I have to count. I have to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So let's see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, my brain is only going to work so well tonight. So, I have finished my first I've had students in the classroom for 5 days now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 15. One more. So let's see. It's busy. This time of year is always really busy. And second year teacher, so some stuff I know to expect at this point. But I am teaching a different subject. One I want to teach, so that's a good thing. But it's still a new subject. So that takes some work. So I've been doing that. The kids are great. They are asking me every day when I'm going to bring a pet in. They want a class pet, which is really kind of cute. And today's question that entertained me greatly is they wanted to know if I would decorate my room for Halloween. Now keep in mind, I teach high school students, so it was really cute. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I said if they were willing to help, I would be willing. Might help if you guys could actually see the work area. There we go. Let's see if that's a little better. I would be willing to decorate. And yeah, they were anxious for that. So, but we won't do that until probably late September, October timeframe. So I have some time for that. So the drive gets old, I have to say. I have an hour and 5-minute drive from door to door. That gets old. Like tonight, I was just like, I want a teleporter. Normally, I don't mind the drive, but I was at work for 10 hours and then came home and no, I was at work for 11 hours and came home and worked another hour and a half. So I was kind of done. And I'm like, all right, what do I want to do? Let's cross stitch. That sounds like a good plan. So, and I was kind of feeling inspired. I wasn't up for my August Peridot Fairy. There was just no way I was stitching that tonight. I was like, my eyes can't take it. I don't have the concentration level for it. It's just not going to happen. So, I had a quick look through my WIPs and found this one. And I haven't worked on this in quite some time. But I want to do like all of the endangered animals in the books. So I have the 2 books and I want to do them all. I have 2 started. I have this one started and the black-footed ferret, which I am totally enamored with the black-footed ferret. I find them to be just the most adorable little creature. And matter of fact, I have the little Thai black-footed ferret, which, you know, doesn't show up on camera very well, but I have those one. Here, let's do this. This guy. That's better. So, I have him. I've had him for a few years now. And he's like the only Thai. I take that back. I have one other Thai in my room, and then I have 1 or 2 in my curio cabinet downstairs. So the rest of them have migrated to Goodwill or the toy bin for my nieces and nephews. So yeah, I really enjoy. One, I love Lori and Pat designs. I love the subject matter on these. And they're just so stinking cute. So I thought, you know what? Let's pull this out. It was this or a Halloween piece, but I didn't have a Halloween piece that had the Velcro on it so I could put it on my stand. And if I'm going to film, I need it on my stand. And since the Stitch With Me is scheduled to go up tomorrow, and I don't know what tomorrow night will hold, I figure, okay, well, let's just start here, and we'll go from there. So yeah, it's nice. I have some peace and quiet, and I really needed the downtime. Today was a lab day, and lab days are crazy, and it was the first lab the kids had done. So when you stop and think about it, they've only been in school for 5 days, and we're doing a lab. So that was awesome, and they did amazing. I was so pleased. So we planted some seeds, and then they're going to monitor their seeds. And then in a few weeks, when we get to photosynthesis, they'll actually be able to look at their plants under the microscope. So that will be totally awesome for them. Now we have to learn how to use the scope in between now and then, plus the content. So we got a lot of work to do, but that's okay. And they've got another lab, and that's the bunny drinking. Got another lab, let's see, Thursday. And they're going to do some scientific method practice with Skittles. So they will enjoy that. And they're I mean, the kids are awesome. So there's of course a no eating in lab rule. And they're like, we're gonna do a Skittles lab, but we can't eat in lab, so we can't eat the Skittles? Like, well, that's what the rule says. Just have to wait and see, won't you? So I was really happy that they were, thinking that through. Of course, I will arrange it so that they can eat the Skittles. But the fact that they thought about that, and it wasn't just one kid, it was multiple kids, is just awesome. That's what I want to see. I want to see them thinking about these things. So I was really enthused about that. And then, they're just, I don't know if it's the kids, because some of these students are students I had last year. And I can't decide if it's they've matured or I have grown as a teacher, or maybe a little bit of both. One of them, or somebody who had me last year, said that I changed a lot over the summer. And I'm like, I'm not sure if I have changed or we've all changed. Sorry. I need to find a better way to put the camera. So I love it when they think and they process these things. It just, yeah. So I'm excited for the year. I don't love the long hours, but I think I was telling my husband, the teacher hours are brutal. I don't think people understand just how many hours a teacher puts in. By the time I got to work at just after 7, and from the minute I walked in the door to the minute I left the door, I worked, except for lunch. So, and we still quite often talk about work at lunch. It's the nature of the beast. It takes a lot on a lab day to get things set up. It's just the way it is. I had to get everything out and ready for the students. And then I had to put everything away before I left and get ready for tomorrow. Now, I also, in the meantime, managed to get everything ready for the rest of the week, too. So tomorrow during prep, or when I come in the morning, I just have to grade some papers. That's not too bad. I don't have a ton of grading to do. I've been keeping up with it. And this camera does not want to stay tonight. Of course, it doesn't help how it's secured, so you know. So tomorrow I'll have to do my grading, and then I don't want you to see my hair. That's not the point. I'm gonna have to edit. Yay. So I may or may not edit that out. So yeah, it takes a lot of work. And my poor husband, he had a long day at work too, so he was wiped. I'm like, honey, I'm gonna film a video, and he's like, I'm going to bed. I'm like, okay. Yeah, it's what it is. So he's getting his beauty sleep. I wanted to film this for you guys, and then I will probably go to bed because, like I said, I'll be up. I get up, the alarm goes off at 5. I'm out the door by 5 after 6. Get to work by 7:15, the latest, depending on traffic lights. And then I'll grade papers. I don't have that many to grade right now. And then on my prep period, I will start the prep for lab on Thursday, so that's one less thing I have to do. So that will be nice. So my poor throat. I talk so much because after lab they had notes. And then we'll do a fair bit of me talking tomorrow, but they will have some work time on their own. And then Thursday, lab and notes. And then Friday, we're going to start the hot zone, which I think they'll like. So and right now we're naming the class fish because they decided it needed a name. And I'm like, great, you guys can name it. So I need to set up a poll so they can vote on names tomorrow. That's another project for the morning. I'll probably do that first and then grade. Because right now, I've got grades in. So we'll do that. And then let's see. What else have we got going? Other than that, we went to the drive-in over the weekend. We went and saw Rocky Horror. I love Rocky Horror. And then this weekend, we are going to go see, trying to make sure we're going to go see a double feature of Grease and Twister. So when we first found out about this drive-in, we found out that they had just done a showing of Twister, and we had missed it. And I have been wanting to see Twister in the drive-in ever since. I just thought that would be totally awesome. So we're going to do that. We're going to go to that. I pre-purchased my ticket because it's classic movies and classic car. So they're going to have, it's free entry for the driver of a classic car. So it'll be fairly busy. It's going to be a little warm too, but it'll cool off once the sun goes down. And then that'll make for a really late Saturday night. So ideally, I will have my lesson plans done before that. So Sunday, I'm not sitting here doing a ton of work, because that's less than ideal. Which is what I did Sunday. I sat and did work all day, which kind of sucks. Takes away a lot of my craft time. And honestly, even the stitching is a luxury, because I've kind of switched into Christmas present mode and birthday present mode. So I have the pair of socks I'm knitting for my sister-in-law's birthday. And ideally, I'll have them done in like 3 weeks when my husband and my father-in-law go to the East Coast. So that will be awesome. And then I've started a shawl for my mom, and I need to do something for my grandmother and my aunt. I haven't decided what yet. I am seriously tempted for my aunt to get a diamond painting and do that. I've seen a couple that I know she'd like, and that's doable in the time frame that allows. My grandma, again, I might do a diamond painting, but I'm not sure on that one. I'm leaning more towards there's just no way for me to get a cross stitch done in that time frame. I just do not have the amount of time for stitching. Plus, anything that I would want to do would probably be more complicated, and I'm usually, by the time I get home from work, my brain is kind of mushified. Now, I expect that by late October, I'll be fine. But that's late October. And by late October, that gives me 2 months to finish a project. And yeah, I really don't have time for that. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. And I just don't know. I could make her a blanket, but I have quilted her a blanket. And blankets do take a fair bit of time, so I'm not sure what blanket I would do. Cross stitch is usually my go-to for my grandmother. because she loves angels and hummingbirds. And both of those look beautiful stitched. But I think I may have set the bar too high. I stitched a gorgeous angel for her from Stony Creek. And there's no way I can do another one in that kind of a time frame. I have a pattern I want to do for her, and it's my brain will work, honestly. The Nativity. There we go. But again, it's a Stony Creek. And unfortunately, there's no way I'm going to finish that. I'd have to stitch pretty consistently on it for more time than I typically have. Even if I gave up and didn't do anything but cross stitch, I don't think I'd have the time. So, because typically I'm putting anywhere between I don't hit 10 hours quite as often at work anymore. But it's just the first week, so it's hard to tell. I know that I'm going to end up with more 10-hour days than I want, but it is what it is. And then when I get home, this is about the level of cross stitch I want. I want something on Ada. I pulled out, I had this stunning butterfly project that my husband bought me, and I absolutely adore it. And it's not hard. It's on 25 count. So it's gorgeous. It's not hard, but my eyes are tired. Everything's tired. And it'll get better, but I'm just like, I can't. I just can't do it. So, I mean, every time I walked into my office and I saw my August Peridot, I'm like, oh my god, she's gorgeous. And I have no motivation to pick her up. So, when I decided I was going to do a Stitch With Me video, I'm telling you, these Stitch With Me videos are probably what keep my stitchy bug going. Like, alright, I just need something simple. And so, Panda Bear it was, and it was a good pick, because this is not super complicated. I will need to fix the digital pattern at some point so that I have something easier to work off. I really like using the digital patterns and working patterns. I can mark them up, but I can also enlarge them, and that is super handy. So that was the big draw for me this time. So and I just love this project. And the counting is not too bad. Which is good. Now, I'll be happier. This is always my problem with with these projects. I start at the bottom, and they always have this little bit of grass. And I get bored stitching the grass, and that's where they end up. I have this Gloria and Pat started. I have the black-footed ferret started. And I think I have one called Blessed Are the Meek. No, not that one. It's a Friends one, and it's got animals in it. Of course, it's got animals in it. We're talking about me. But they're all on the grass because I get bored stitching the grass. Now, could I count up and stitch on the bear? I could. And why I don't know, because it wouldn't be that hard on these. And then I could put the grass in later. I don't know why I don't. Makes no sense. But I don't. I just sit here and do this. So I should probably think about it at some point. But, you know. What are you gonna do? Just keep on stitching. That's my... It's not that much grass. And if I just work on it, I'd get it done. But we'll see how long I stitch on it before I switch to the next piece. I've got open house on Monday. So, I'm trying to decide what I want to do. We have to have our syllabuses ready. And I know that. That's not a big deal. I'm trying to decide if I want to get really fancy and do something cool or not. I don't know. I've already got stuff on the wall because I hung up the posters my students made. I'm trying to decide what I want to do, and I don't know. But I have time. I have a couple ideas. We'll see what strikes my fancy. Then, this is pretty much how I'm looking at it. I've got the weekend to figure it out. The problem is, I really should probably do it Friday at work, because I'm thinking I might do a poster of some sort, or one of those foldy boards. But I'm probably going to end up doing it this weekend, and I'll put the finishing touches Monday. So, which is fine. I have time Monday because of the time of open house. So, it's a patience, grasshopper. It will come to you like everything else. So, everybody's having a ton of fun with Stitchwoods. Yep, we're going to take a left turn. We're going to talk about Stitchwoods for a little bit. So, I'm really glad to see everybody's enjoying it. We put so much time and effort into it, and thank goodness for all of the heads of house and head stitchers that help with that. I know more people volunteered. I got some help, and then I got buried again, and it's just and. There's always something going on. And there comes a point where it's group administration and Stitchwets, or it is actually do some crafting myself, and I try and find a balance between the group and the events, and actually getting some crafting time in myself. Sometimes I feel really guilty that I'm crafting when I have about 1 billion things I need to do. And I try and remember that crafting is what brings me inner peace. And inner peace is really important to me and for my profession. So I need to remember to take time and enjoy myself and do things that make me happy and help reduce my stress. I don't want to have to deal with high blood pressure, and according to my mom, it runs in the family, I guess. It's not on her side, so I'm guessing it's on my dad's side. I don't know. But I know my brothers who are younger than me are dealing with it. And one of my younger brothers is already on medication. So I don't want to have to deal with that. And I know losing weight would help, but that hasn't been a successful journey for me. I don't gain much and I don't lose much. I stay right about the same weight. It doesn't seem to matter what my activity level is, which is frustrating for me, but it is what it is. But I do want to, stay as healthy as possible. We went for a walk last night, and we're trying to put that back into our routine, but my poor husband had a really hard day at work, and he does physical stuff at his job, and so he was beat. My poor dog, he did great for the first half of the walk, but when we came home, he was pooped. So I was like, alright, I'm wiped. The husband's wiped. The dog probably really could use a day of recovery. And hopefully tomorrow we can get another walk in. Because I would like to build it back into the routine, but I need to be careful when I take my dog because we think he has a slipped disc. Or not. I think the vet said slipped disc is what his problem probably is. And yeah. So that's just another thing that I need to be cognizant of. And the vet said if he, let him take it easy. And we did. Over the summer, he was on medication to kind of give his back a chance to heal. And now we're kind of building back up and seeing how he does. He seems fine, but I don't want him to hurt it again either. So he might be my spoiled baby. All my pets are a little on the spoiled side. So it's amazing how much you learn. I remember the first cross stitch I did. Well, okay. Wasn't the very first one I did, but the first one with proper instructions. So I first dabbled with embroidery and cross stitch when I was like 8 years old. My grandma had tons of craft stuff, and I just kind of had at it, and there was stamped cross stitch. I don't think she had any counted, but I did stamped back then. And I hated stamped cross stitch. I remember that. It was this baby blanket. And so I decided I was going to do it. And I hated the material. Trying to make the X's, I mean, I stitched them exactly where it showed the X, but it never looked quite right to me. And I wasn't a huge fan. And then when I got to middle school, we had to do counted. And I'm pretty sure I had seen counted before. But, you know, this was for home ec. So I got, you know, directions and all this stuff. And did my X's all go the same way? No. Mostly they did. But there were a couple that weren't quite right. And, you know, back stitching was, you know, great big long strands. And, yeah. I mean, and I loved it. I did it quite a bit after that. But, you know, now we've got railroading and we've got thread heaven or thread magic or beeswax. I want to get some beeswax once the weather cools off, and not the, I want to get the really nice beeswax. I've got some from Etsy that I want to get. But yeah, you've got all that stuff, and it's just kind of amusing how far we've come. And all the patterns. I grew up in a small town. Walmart was the store of choice. And, you know, I remember Walmart back then had cross stitch. But you didn't have a lot of options. And that was the only place. And there was no internet back then. There was no craft store in town. So I had a couple books that, you know, my family gave me for Christmas and whatnot. And that was pretty much it. And that doesn't line up. Yeah, this is why I probably shouldn't be stitching tonight. The question becomes, where did I screw up? Alright. Skip a space. Stitch one. Skip a space. But there should only be 4 between here and there. And that's more than 4. Fiddle stickies. Alright, I don't want to deal with that tonight. So, yeah, that's a problem. Now, the question is, can I fudge it or not? Because I don't know how much I'm off. And I didn't mark the fabric. I probably should have. So, I think I'm going to call this a night. And I will talk to you later when I decide what I want to do about this. So, I hope everybody has a good night.